Yo, what's up? This is Quinelle, Coach Q Holder, and you're now watching The Influentials with Everyday Dope Life. I am Quinelle Holder, aka Q, aka Coach Q, and I am the CEO of Medium PR Agency. I co-own the company with my wife, Sabrina Voss Holder, and we have had the company for about, officially I want to say it's coming up on 3 years now. But me, myself, I've been working in the entertainment industry for just over 10 years. 10 years ago, I actually first started, I would say, heavily being involved in the industry. I started working with this clothing line called Hero Villain. So I did this clothing line with Hero Villain with one of my childhood friends. His name is Antonio Gosin, but everybody know him as LA. I think I became I was like the head of street team or, whatever. And after like a couple weeks, he literally was like, yo, you're doing more than everybody. He was like, yo, I'm about to have you come downtown, put your name on this business license. Like, I want you to be the co-owner. I want you to be general manager. All of these things are like pretty early on. Like, I got to have titles. Don't get it twisted. Like, I didn't really understand the full extent of what some of this stuff was, but even him empowering me, he taught me and showed me like this is a real thing that can happen. From there, in order to make sure that I was launching the brand properly, and we kind of got the kind of exposure that I felt like really would make a difference, I started a blog, and the blog was called the Red Tag Society. And if if you're into fashion or whatever, Levi's is famous for that red tag. I started the blog in order to have an excuse to interview celebrities and influential people and to get them into clothes. So it was kind of like all basically a ploy to do that. And I would interview people. I would staple we had business cards. I would staple a business card to the shirt. I would wrap the shirt around the person that after we did the interview would be like, yo, the interview was sponsored by Hero Villain. Like, I was real smooth, like, in that sense. And I would never say like it was my clothing line or it had anything to do with anything like that. I would never do anything like that. One thing I always realized was like early on was like, and it's sad to say, people don't want to support things that you're directly involved with. People like to support other people's things. It's like sad to say, but I learned that very quick. So that was how I started kind of, if you didn't know me, I wouldn't introduce or say I did this, that, and the third. I would always talk about myself or what we had going on like in the third person. And that was something that I learned really, really early on too. When you try to make things a little bit too much about yourself, or you try to get people to overly support you, it can come off as selfish and people don't really want to support you. But when you make it about a bigger vision and about other people, I found that people seem to gravitate more towards helping and doing things. So, I started doing that. From the blog, of course, the brand itself grew. I mean, we had so many opportunities, from doing fashion shows to, we ended up, one of the artists that we were working with ended up doing 106 in Park, and another group they had wore our clothes in a video that ended up on Black TV, and that was like another look, So things just started to kind of, really progress. From that experience, I ended up having and finding a love for blogging in general. My blogging went from, I went from just being a blogger into, being a writer, into raw like hip hop journalism. The opportunities that I gained from the Red Tag Society actually allowed me to connect with Brandon from Hip Hop Since 1987. I got on the phone with Brandon and I looked at the website, like I always do, did my research, did a little bit of research on him, how he started, and I just reached out and was just kind of like, hey, I think I have a lot that I can contribute to help this site grow. So I just hit him up, and he was just like, okay. And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, so, how much would you charge? And I was just like, oh, this dude about to pay me? Like, wait. I wasn't even thinking about money. That's something that's important to say. Like, I always felt like I would be successful, and financially and all of that. But early on, I never overly thought about money. I always thought about doing the work, and building up a brand and doing these things now, because I felt like it always was going to be important. Of course, in hindsight, it was, but I just was like, I never was too pressed on that. So for him to even say that, it said a lot about what I already had done and how I was already presenting myself. Because for him to offer a price for me to do some work on a blog, which I would have done for free, it made me think about the way that I was approaching situations. From hip-hop, I had other opportunities. I had an opportunity to work with Karen Civils, editorial assistant over there. I had an opportunity to work with Revolt. I did a couple freelance pieces over there. They kind of went from like the hip-hop journalism route. I think I started kind of leaving the journalism area and got more into like media personality, maybe like some light consulting, and then this is where like the PR stuff started to come in. And I think the thing about PR, or when I kind of realized that PR was something that I could really jump into, was from me being a journalist, the artist had a special type, I had a special type of connection with them. I chose to build over getting content. Number one, kind of to the catch-22 about even the statement that I made earlier about how I knew in certain situations like it was important for me to just build, have the conversation with the person as opposed to, getting a picture or doing an interview. On the flip side, honestly, like, I don't feel like I would be where I'm at. I don't even feel like this company would exist had I not had social media to have a voice. It allowed me to have a voice and to kind of interact and connect with people in a way that I never would have been able to. Like, something that people always bring up to me that I'm so grateful for, and I know it's true, is that, like, there were people who I wanted to connect with. I could just tweet them, and they would tweet me back, and they would follow me back, and it would be like, hey, here's my email, here's this, here's that, here's my manager. Like, I don't think we even understand how privileged we are to be able to do that. You couldn't tweet Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't tweet Prince. Like, you couldn't do this stuff. Like, if you wanted to get the people that was in the industry, like, you had to be in it. Period. Or even contact information being posted. Like, I don't even think we take that for granted. Like, there was a time when that didn't happen. You just had to know the person's agent. And you couldn't barely get their number or their email. Social media is like, that thing helped me so crazy. And it still helps me to this day. To this day, when I'm looking for contacts and trying to get things together and do stuff, I use social media like a pro. You know what I mean? From LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram, to Twitter. Man, you can literally, nowadays, you literally can just hit an agency, you know what I mean? And if you have the right conversations, you know what I'm saying, you can end up getting the type of, resources that you need to kind of make something happen. There's people who have 50 followers, but they could be some of the most influential people on social media. Not because of the number of followers they had, but the people that follow them. You know what I mean? Like, I started to learn, like, just because somebody had a lot of followers or a blue check or this or that or whatever they had and didn't validate who they were. Like, it takes time to validate who somebody is. It takes time to validate if, you know what I mean, what they're saying is something that you really should take heed to. That's how I kind of feel like where, social media is at and how I kind of look at it and use it. I think the biggest issue for me right now, especially with the youth, is, so we talking content. Let's specifically talk about like the music industry, right? We talking content. We talking about relatability, right? The most important thing for building a brand as an artist: relatability, authenticity. Them feeling like they really can connect with you. You're giving people access to your life, But because you want to get the most clicks and you want to be viral and you want to be hot, you end up maybe putting yourself, it's two types. So I want to be very clear. You got people that grew up in a certain type of environment where this is really their life and they documented it, and it ain't necessarily right, but they're still being authentic to themselves. And then you have people that, because they want to go viral and because they feel like they want to be on the tip of everybody's tongue, they start doing things that they normally wouldn't do. They start doing things that aren't a part of their culture.